What's up guys, Barry Gaming here, back with some more AFK Journey, and today we're going to be going over some of the testing we've done with Tassi. There's going to be a couple videos, maybe even 3 out today, because there's a lot to talk about with this hero, and it's certain compositions and game modes that she is flourishing in very well. I still hold true that if you are not someone who spends regularly on this game, I don't think Tassi is for you, but if you are a spender, you're a hero that likes to invest in heroes, there are definitely teams that you can make work with Tassi. And what do you know, it's not actually a Wilder team that really is the best bet for her. It's actually a Lightbearer type team. So we already know that typical Corrin type team that we use for bossing. However, for AFK stages, mainly the talent trials, it actually is a pretty good strategy to run overall. So I'm gonna leave my my old team in here that I was running before. Oh man, I actually forget who I was running with this squad, because this team I absolutely love. This is like probably one of my go-to teams right now, just an overall power and quality and everything. You know what, we could probably build another support hero into this squad, which is probably going to be someone, honestly, I think I like that. And then number 2, there's something specific we need. Number 1, we need resonating spell, and we need to put her in a spot that is going to get the best benefit. Surprisingly enough though, like I said, we're not actually going to be running the traditional Wilder team that we just have tried to throw her in constantly. What we're going to be doing is running her in a Lightbearer team, and that is to feed that energy to her and keep her team going. So I've seen this type of squad be very popular, even having Lucius in there, and I've seen even other people potentially using Cassidy in this too to target her. So the big part of this right here is keeping the enemy team locked down, and we're going to do that by chaining together a bunch of active ultimate skills. So I think the biggest issue with Tassi is getting her to her ultimate. You can see right there, she jumps in, does some AoE damage, it's cool and all, but she really needs to get going. She needs to get her ultimate, and when we have her with the Lightbearer team, we're actually chaining together multiple CCs in a row here that's going to keep the enemy team locked down. So we're about to get Tassi's first ultimate right here. I do like Cassidy mixed in too, because again, it's a form of like pushing the enemies together. So you see right there, she just completely locked them down multiple times. But again, it really comes down to a team designed to really emphasize on the spamming of abilities. Now, one thing I will say with that team, I actually kind of like running her with Freesto in that squad instead of something like a Lucius. I imagine this team shouldn't have too much of a problem. We got so much healing. We have insane damage with Taylene. This is like by far one of my favorite PvE teams out there. Granted, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drop the Freesto out of this and use Freesto in the secondary team, because I think that'll be better overall. But again, not everybody has a Freesto, so this is one of those situations, like I was saying, this isn't a strategy everybody can use. I'm going to go back to a more traditional squad here, but sadly I am going to have to put another Lightbearer, or man, actually, you know what, I kind of like throwing you in this squad right here. I really like Belial, especially when the enemies start completely separate. And then for this team here, we are going to be taking you out of this squad, and we're going to throw the Freesto in, and we're going to make sure we're doing the energy feeding Freesto linked up to the Tassi, because once again, we're trying to get this Tassi an ultimate as fast as possible. Now, the sad part is we can't run like a Damien in the squad, because we need 3 of those Lightbearers in the squad. And again, if we can feed all this extra energy, then it becomes a much better strategy. You see right here, now Tassi is about to pop off. She uses her first ultimate right there, and then you'll see the shadow one go off as well right here. So you're getting this like chain CC off that literally makes this enemy team completely vulnerable, and by the time they break out of that hypnotized sleep, she's using her active skill, her ultimate skill, yet again. So I'm really enjoying the Lightbearer squad. The downside is you can't really do that team in regular AFK battles as good. Like, it's still a decent strategy, of course, but it's just not going to work as well, because again, we're really doubling down on what those tiles are doing, giving us the insane amount of energy feed from Rowan. But I mean, it's definitely something that is possible to do. So you can see right here, these battles are going pretty well with both of our teams here, and if we take a look at the teams, we're more than double, we're almost triple our power here. This one's more like double, so it's not as good of an example. But if we do jump into regular battles here, one thing I would love to try here is running the same thing with like Freyasto here, and then putting, we're of course going to need some of those Lightbearers, so that's definitely going to be something we need to do. No, not you. We need, first off, Tassi is going to be thrown into this squad, and then of course just at least putting the Rowan in. Now we don't technically need to go crazy on Lightbearers because we don't have the faction talents here. We can go with just another hero that we think would synergize well with this team, which is a cool little strategy. I do like running Damien in this squad because, again, the additional haste helps a ton. If you really want to double down on what this team can do, though, one thing I would consider, and it's kind of odd because we don't use her very often, Leica, because Leica can also produce a lot of haste, and I think that's a pretty cool strategy. We are of course going to go with the resonating spell because that's the one that's going to feed the most energy to her right here, and I think this is going to be the best case scenario for us. Now the second team, of course, we're just going to run a more traditional squad. It doesn't really matter what we're running. The second team should demolish almost anything anyway, so it's not as big of a deal. So let's go back to the first battle. Let's see how this looks. We're basically hitting, we're almost up to double. I just haven't really done AFK battle pushes yet, so we are in a good spot. But you can see here, even in this situation, she is very weak, but feeding that energy to her is still really good because if she can still chain a bunch of these ultimates together, she can work. It's just you have to put her in a very specific team geared to getting her ultimates as fast as possible. If she's not getting ultimates, she's really not doing anything. So I really just wanted to share this type of thing to you. Her and Rowan and heroes like Damien in regular battles, very, very good combos. I absolutely love it. And yeah, it seems to be working pretty dang good here. Now, as far as her actual damage goes, it's really popping off on these teams too. If you can get her ultimates very, very quickly, she's going to snowball here. So I'm going to let this run today. I'm going to see how far we can get. And then tomorrow we're going to really see how far we can deficit push with this hero. The downside is sometimes she does teleport away before Rowan gets his ultimate off. But remember, because we're using resonating spell, every time an ally uses energy for an ultimate is going to feed her additional energy, and that's what we're really, really banking on here. Resonating spell and Rowan, I feel like, are the two heroes that are absolute must to pair with Tassi, and then heroes like Freyasto, really great for extra energy feed, getting additional haste from Damien, and even heroes like Leica, really, really solid. So I'm going to let this team run for a while today. I think this is going to be our best bet for overall progress. And we'll come back and see exactly how far deficit-wise we can push. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. I do love certain aspects of Tassi here. There are some negatives, there are some positives, but overall her CC is really crazy, especially if you can get her to chain these ultimates over and over, and she just gets these ultimates quickly, completely locks down the battlefield, and helps the victory. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. I'll see you guys next time.